Welcome back. As promised, we bring you the hoops from around the Northland tonight. So shout out to our current web guy and future UWS grad, Jeffrey, for grabbing these games tonight. At the east end of Duluth is where we find those basketballers. It's the Greyhounds and the Hibbing Blue Jackets. 4 minutes into the first half, senior Catherine Toe opened up the scoring with an and one putback to give Hibbing the first lead of the night. Just 2 minutes later, Maggie Winsett gets trapped in the corner, but finds Amity Servin for the jumper to put East up by 2. Now 8 minutes remaining in the first half, and a good move by freshman Lily Kudel is stopped by Tao, who is firing on both sides of the ball tonight. Toe led all scorers in the first half with moves like this drop step as Hibbing begins to pull away 13-9. And just over a minute remaining, the Greyhounds are trying to stay in it with a nifty move from Candace Edmom to make a 24-14 lead going in the second half. Hibbing would continue to control the game through the second half, defeating Duluth East 45-33. And over the bridge to none other than Sparty Party Nation, as the Superior boys basketball team got the best of the Hayward Hurricanes tonight, putting up a big first half as 3 players scored over 15 points. And we jump late into this one as AJ Kittikall finds teammate Liam Flores for a nice finish to make it 70-36. Next possession after the timeout, and Sinicole is passing out dimes, this time finding freshman Carson Smith on the backdoor cut for 2. For the final basket of this one, senior Tuckett Frazier finds the floater to give Superior the 72-38 win as they pick up their 4th of the season and look ahead to a matchup with the Osmu brothers and the #1 ranked Cherry Tigers on Friday. Man, that family, Osmu brothers up in the Iron Range.
Yeah.